Well, welcome everyone to the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. We are excited to be here and excited to bring you a fabulous program. Today, we are going to be talking about everything regarding your style, your brand, your image online, and how you're showing up in person. So it's going to be a fun day, a fun session. You're going to have a lot of little tips that you can walk away with. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome again. I am co-hosting with Carol Kaemmerer. Kathleen Caldwell will be joining us towards the end of the session. She is the founder of the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. So I'm going to go ahead and share a few slides with you. Here's slideshow. Okay, so again, welcome to the Reignite Your Style, Your Confidence, and Elevating Your Brand. Your guest speakers today are going to be myself, Sheila Anderson, and Carol Kaemmerer. My name is Sheila Anderson. If you don't know me, I own a business called Image Power Play, where I help you unleash your brand's power to stay top of mind with strategic personal branding, image development, and creative direction. I'm a professional speaker. I'm the author of a book, which is one of C-Suite Network's top 100 business books. And also joining me today is Carol Kaemmerer, who is executive branding coach. She is a professional speaker and an author. And I love this about Carol. As one of 6 top personal branding experts to watch in 2022. Wow, we're so thrilled to have Carol join us and be part of our Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. And she helps create authentic and powerful online brands for C-suite executives and senior leaders. So just buckle your seatbelts because we're going to have so much information coming your way today. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started, get right into it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this screen, these slides that Kathleen provided to us, and I'm going to go ahead and start my presentation. Again, this is being recorded, so welcome to all of you that are watching the replay. We are happy that you have taken some time out of your day to learn a little bit more about how you're presenting yourself. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and start my presentation. And we're all good that we can see my slides?
We can.
Wonderful. Well, again, my name is Sheila Anderson, and I help people with their image and their style. And it's all about how you're showing up confidently. So today we're going to talk about your style confidence. And we're going to get right into it. So I'm going to talk to you about 3 style distractors. And then we're going to talk about 3 style enhancers. And then we're going to bring math into the style equation for a little bit, talk about Zoom. We'll wrap it up. And then we'll also have Carol jump in. But before I get started with my session for style distractors, I thought Carol and I could jump in and talk about a little bit about what personal branding means to us, and what our definitions and why we feel it's important. So Carol, I don't know if you want to jump in on your thoughts on personal branding before I dive into my session.
Okay, well, personal brand is a promise delivered. It is how you say you're going to show up and then doing it consistently. And by that consistency, I mean in person, online, like on Zoom, and online on LinkedIn. Anywhere that people encounter us, I know that every touch point is important. How we comment, how we look, and how we treat others. So that is part of personal brand.
Yeah, I love that. It is how we treat others. When people think about personal branding, a lot of times they think about the visual aspects of it, which is something that's near and dear to my heart, right? I love the personal and the visual aspects of personal branding, but you touched on a really great point. And I define personal branding is owning that experience that others have with you. And so every, like you
Love
said,
that.
every touch point, every interaction people have with you all helps build that picture of who you are. I like to have people stay, top of mind. So how do you remain top of mind in the minds of others? And one of the ways that I talk about personal branding, I also have 30 years of corporate branding experience. It's we kind of come up with that brand personality. So what are those adjectives or those words that are used to describe you and your brand? And if you can narrow it down to 3 words, awesome. If you can get it down to 1 word, that's amazing. So, what are those words or that one word that you want to own in the minds of others when they think of you? And sometimes it's easier to think about what are those words you never want associated with you. And that's really kind of the basis of, building your personal brand is knowing what that word, those 1 to 3 words are. So when somebody's thinking about you, those words are popping into their mind when they're recalling an interaction with you, when they're referring you onto somebody else, or when they're talking about you. Every touch point they have with you needs to tie back to those words. So again, I kind of define that personal branding is that whole overall experience that people have with you. And you mentioned, Carol, about being consistent, and that's so critical. First having that strategy of how you want to come across and then doing it consistently, right? Doing it consistently on LinkedIn, online, on Zoom, in person, all those different, again, touch points, and then just showing up authentically as you, right? I mean, that's
Absolutely.
as simple as it is. So those are some of our thoughts on personal branding. You can pop some of your ideas in the chat, or just take some time and think about that. Today or after you've watched this replay, what are those words, and what is your personal brand? What is that experience that people are having with you? So, I'm going to go ahead, excuse me, and jump right into the style distractors. So these are things that hinder your personal and professional image. Excuse me. Number
Huh.
one, the first one is wrong fit. Okay, so this is my number one thing that I see people um not paying attention to. Maybe they're doing it wrong. Um, and there's something called the 2-finger rule that you can test fit. So if you take 2 fingers, you should be able to get it, in between your waistline, at, different areas of fit, around your body. It depends if you have a very oversized garment, right? It's supposed to be, oversized, or, tight, skinny pants. Maybe that's another thing, but you should still be able to do that 2-finger rule. So you should be able to fit 2 fingers in around the clothing, when it's against your body. So that's just a basis. It's not a be all, but it certainly helps you kind of figure out that, if things are fitting. And then of course we know if things are too tight. And as women, we typically pay attention to what that, the label says on the inside of, that garment, what the size is. And I just say, if that size bothers you, then just cut out the tag. Then you don't have to look at it anymore,
Oh,
right? It doesn't matter. It just has to fit. I don't care if you're typically a size 14 and you're like, oh, these 14s don't fit, I have to go up to a 16. You're still going to look better in those 16 pants, instead of trying to squeeze into that tighter, because tighter clothes make you look bigger in most instances. So really things that are too tight, right? Too tight for you make you look bigger. It's okay if they follow that silhouette of your body, or if they're fitted to your body. That doesn't make you look bigger. But if they're too tight, it's going to make you look bigger. Okay, another thing that a lot of people don't pay attention to is their pant length, and this can be an area where we look frumpy. And so watch where the end of your pants and where they end on your leg, because wherever they end creates a horizontal line and it can widen it. So I see this a lot of times with crop pants. A lot of times those crop pants end at the fuller part of our calf and our leg looks bigger. So showing a little bit of ankle is really good. It can help slim your overall figure, or having the pants graze all the way to almost the floor is another really good proportion. We're going to get into proportions here in a little bit, but paying attention to that, your pant length. Bad proportions, creating balance. So paying attention to the length and scale of clothing on the body. So we're going to talk about this as I get into the math portion, which is coming up soon. But having bad proportions, wearing a big baggy shirt and then having a big baggy pants is too much, right? It's too much baggy, and it makes you, it distracts from your overall look. And so if you have something baggy, then the rule of thumb is to pair it with something slimmer. So if you have an oversized tunic, then you wear a skinnier pant. If you have a fuller skirt, then you wear a tighter top. You don't want it like blousy and blousy. So paying attention to that balance and then the length and scale of your body. Okay, so we're going to get into like, so what helps me? How do I enhance my personal image and my professional image? Okay, we're going back to fit. Alterations make things look custom. You can get a $50 blazer at Old Navy or someplace, and you can take it into a tailor. And even if you spend $25 to get that altered, it's going to look more custom, and it's going to look bespoke, and it's going to look like a $300 blazer. So men don't have challenges with having tailored clothes or getting their clothes, taken to a tailor and altered. Women typically fight that because it doesn't fit me off the rack. We want it to fit off the rack for some reason. And we fight the notion of having to go to a tailor and get things altered, but things are not made to fit you right off of the hanger. So, we can all be the same size, but our bodies are all a little different. So having a tailor just make little tweaks to your clothing. Again, you may have spent $50 for a blazer. Now you have to take it in spend another $20 to get it fitted a little bit more to your body, but it's going to look so much better. It's going to look higher end. It's going to look custom. It's going to elevate your image in so many ways. So this is like, again, my number one thing with people is fit. Wearing the wrong fit, the wrong size, and then making sure that we can get things tailored. Another way to enhance or level up your personal image and your professional look is to dress in solids or neutrals, and kind of staying away from those prints. I have probably a majority of my closet is, pattern and prints, and because I love that. But if there's times where I need to up level my my look, if I'm going into a really higher end corporate meeting or something, I'll choose solids because there's a level of sophistication about that. And wearing neutrals or that monochromatic, it doesn't mean you have to wear black, right? All head to toe. It can be a really soft camel head to toe. And even if you see the gentleman on this slide has got like tan, a lighter cream pants in a, camel jacket, it's still in kind of that same tone. So it doesn't have to be matchy like that one outfit, but wearing neutrals obviously is very slimming, but it adds a level of sophistication and just classes up our look. This can even be the case if you're in the summertime, you're going maybe to an outing, it could be a picnic or something. Even if you wore like navy shorts and then you pair it with a navy top, that's still going to up level that look instead of like wearing a red top and blue shorts. So just keep that in mind, that anytime you wear monochromatic, it always dresses up the look a little bit more. Okay, so now we're going to get into the golden ratio. Here's where the math comes in, which is really kind of funny because I'm married to a CPA and I've hated math my whole life. Here I am talking about math and the golden ratio. So how many have heard about the golden ratio? Okay, so it's a ratio that we can use to dress our body that is more appealing. Okay, so and there's a lot of words here I know, but you can watch the replay and kind of stop it and pause it and read through things. But according to ask.men via an article on Fox News, I found that, believe it or not, our definition of what's attractive is not only part of um, our look, it's a matter of taste, and it's more of a matter of our math. And so you can kind of read that. We're attracted to something or someone in a large part, a highly mathematical process. That process, like all math, is based on certain formulas, in this case, something we call the golden ratio. So Leonardo da Vinci discovered that we find this ratio to be the most beautiful, whether it be in architecture, in nature, or a person's physical body. A lot of artists, a lot of sculptors use this golden ratio. And so what it is, it's a little complicated to define, but just I want you to remember there's a golden ratio for dressing, and I'm going to give you an easy formula here shortly. But what it is you're dividing a line at the 1.618 point. And that's the most harmonious and pleasing to the eye. Okay, so really what it is, it's a comparison of any two aspects that lead us to a proportion between them. And so that's more appealing. So this ratio goes 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 5. And so how many of you have heard of dressing your body in thirds? That's where this golden ratio is applied. That's where that comes from. So you can, when somebody talks to you about dressing your body in thirds, you can be like, oh, okay, that's part of that whole golden ratio thing. If we look at the Eiffel Tower, and I tell people dress like the Eiffel Tower, and they're like, well, I'm bottom heavy. I said, well, think about the proportions of it. So the top half of that Eiffel Tower is 2/3 of the Eiffel Tower, right? And then you can see that center line, and then the lower half, that 1/3. So if we break our body into that 1/3, 2/3, or the 3 to 5 ratio, whatever that is, it's going to be more visually appealing. You're going to look more, it's more appealing to the eye. It's considered to be more beautiful when you do that. So we don't ever want to break the body in half with our clothing, and that's where a lot of people get this wrong. Okay, so again, a lot of a lot of stuff going on here, and I put this in, it's mostly for the replay that people can stop it and read through this a little bit more. But the most flattering look in fashion is when the top third of the body is balanced by 2/3 below. So now I'm going to show you a couple of examples. All right. So again, we have that ratio, the 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 5. The human body is said to be made up of about 8 head lengths. And so if you break up the body using these proportions, you'll look better to the human eye. No matter what your size is, this works for everyone, everybody. So we want to, if you kind of think about the different lengths of the 8 head lengths, you don't ever want to break up the body in half. So what does that look like? So if you Google dressing the body in the golden ratio, you'll find one of the articles on my blog pops up answering that question. And so I do have a blog on this, which I probably should update it a little bit more. But so it's the rule of thirds. So the first photo is breaking the body up in half. So the red top is about the same proportion, the same height as the black skirt. You're going to look frumpy, you're going to look heavier, and it's not as appealing if you do that. If you look at the second photo, you have the red shirt is about 1/3 of the overall look, right? Then the pants or the skirt, I think it looks like a skirt here, is 2/3. So that's better. That's more appealing. That's the 1/3, 2/3. If you look at the next one, the third one over, that's just the opposite, right? It's 2/3 on top, 1/3 on bottom. That works. And again, that long tunic is about 2/3, and then the pants are about 1/3 of the outfit. So if you look at yourself in the mirror in your outfit, You don't want the top portion and the bottom portion to be equal lengths. We want it to be 1/3, 2/3, or 2/3, 3/3, or 1/3, 2/3, or you can just flip it around. Here's some other examples that I found on the internet that I thought, gosh, you know what? Instead of me reinventing the wheel, some of these are really good examples. So you can see how this Meghan Markle is an expert at dressing this way. She really watches the golden ratio, the golden triangle. It's called a lot of different things. So she often will nip in her waist. And once you show off your waist, that's kind of where your breaking point is sometimes on your body. And so she knows that then that kind of breaks up that 1/3, 2/3 of her body. So she's good about highlighting her waist. You can see in the second picture, the 1/3, 2/3, and even using the dress. Okay, I'm going to go back one more. So one of the things that you can do to measure, and I'm going to wrap up here quickly, to find your ideal hemline for a dress, this is a really interesting measurement. So if you measure from your shoulder all the way to the floor with whatever heels you have on, and then you divide that one by 1.618, whatever that number is, then should be what you should measure from your shoulder down to whatever that number is. That's where the ideal length for your body should be, where your skirt line is. And some ladies get this wrong with pairing it with the wrong shoes. So depending if you're wearing flats or if you're wearing heels, that hemline maybe has to adjust up or down. But the easier thing to do is you adjust your heel. So if you need a little bit, maybe you need to add a little bit more of a heel to make that proportion better, or get a flatter shoe to work on that proportion. So again, there's a lot of math there, but I wanted to give you a couple of visuals. My main goal for you for this was to just there's something about the golden ratio in dressing. I need to break my body up in thirds. That's the best place to start. We can get into into more depth about that in personal consultations, but just now, generally, I want you to be aware of that rule. Okay, so another thing, when we talk about personal image, and Carol's going to jump in here in a bit and talk to you about your online presence on LinkedIn, but another online presence is how you're showing up on Zoom. So I'm often asked, what is that best color to wear on Zoom? And I always say you have to consider your background. So what is your background? We look at your background first. And there might be things that we need to be adjusted. If you have bookcases behind you, maybe we need to, add some different accessories there to bring out different elements of your personal brand that we might want to see. But the best color, I can't tell you because it depends on your background and it depends on your coloring. I will say that jewel tones tend to look really well on camera. So those blue is one of my favorites on camera. So our blues, that magenta, that pink, purple's really nice on camera. Green can be a little iffy, depending on your background or if you're using a green screen. Sometimes black.
Have you ever seen someone
Yes.
with a green shirt on and a green screen?
Yes,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness, so funny.
Yeah. So, and then black can sometimes be a little hard on camera. You just have to pay attention to that because the light kind of absorbs it, and it's sometimes you can look just like a talking head. So I like to say, just you have to pay attention to your background. So the bottom line is your image and how you show up on Zoom, from your appearance to your background, affects your bottom line. All right. So I hope you learned some things there. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to turn it over to Carol, and I'm excited to learn from her on LinkedIn and all that she has to tell us.
So I'm going to be talking about branding brilliance for your LinkedIn profile. And specifically, what I want to do with my segment is to talk about those things that our eye is caught by right away. So Sheila, if you could go forward. because we want to, in every way, showcase our know, like, and trust. So what are the 3 things that you notice right away? The first things that you see in 10 seconds, say, when you look at somebody's profile. Kathleen, what do you see first?
Well, I see their photo and I see their background, their banner, I guess it's called.
Yeah,
And yeah, and perhaps their title.
absolutely. So that title part is called the headline. So let's move forward to the next slide. And we just did that one. Go ahead, one more. So how do you know if you need a new picture on LinkedIn? So I have 20 questions to ask in my book, but really 3 could probably do it. Number 1, was it taken by a professional? That's really important that we show up as our very best. And one way to assure that is that we start with a great photographer. Number 2, you need to look like yourself now. If you are showing a picture of you when your hair was a totally different color, people are going, huh? If they can't recognize you from your picture that's on your LinkedIn profile, it's considered disingenuous. And if you are lying now to us on your LinkedIn profile in what you look like, what other material are you perhaps hedging your bets on? And so for that know, like, and trust factor, it's so important that we look like our current self. And then the next thing is, if you ask your spouse, what do you think about my picture? And the answer begins with, well, the answer is yes, you need a new picture. So let's look at this headline. We've got an empty banner image. So why don't you go to the next slide, Sheila, for me? What does that communicate about you? Sheila, do you have any thoughts when you see an empty banner? What do you think about the person?
Well, that they have not taken the time to promote themselves, or they don't care, maybe, right? They're a little lackadaisy about how they're showing up.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't taken it seriously.
Right, right. So there are lots of ways that we can fill this space meaningfully. And because it's such a great big space, we want to make sure that we're communicating something that gives our profile the energy and the power that we expect to bring to our networking. And so one way that some people can solve this is to use an image that includes their company logo. Not everybody has a company logo. Not everybody is in charge of the company. So other ways that we can do that are with images that replicate the feeling that you want to convey about who you are. So that could be a color or colors. It could be tranquil or energetic. It could be fast or slow. It could be calm waters or all stirred up. Think of what your brand communicates and try to replicate that. So if you go to the next slide, Sheila, I have some recommendations for where we can do that. So my favorite sources for free to use images are stocksnap.io and unsplash.com. Those are beautiful images. Not everything that we want to express would be a beautiful image. Maybe you really want something more business-like. And if you are wanting a business-like image, the place that I go is Shutterstock.com, because you can buy just a small package of downloads and it won't cost you an arm and a leg. And a design resource that you can use for combining picture and actual text would be Canva.com. Canva is also partnering with some photograph place. I don't remember which, but you can buy one image through Canva that way. So if you would move to the next, that'd be great. So the next thing, Kathleen, you talked about that you would see your headline, that text under the name, and your headline is your story in about 220 characters or fewer. So think about the way that you might be able to communicate your story. So if you go to the next slide, Sheila. We want to use the rule of 3 because that's a powerful, powerful way to construct anything. And that's why preachers and teachers and speakers and writers have used that for millennia. So go to the next slide. Remember, when you are writing your headline, that 3 is powerful and more than 3 is not. Not only that, but when you put in too many things, our eyes kind of glaze over and you are not memorable. So 3 is a power number. Let's go to the next slide. So I start with these kinds of ingredients. What are the 3 things you want to be known for? Go to the next slide. And what are the 3 ways that your clients benefit? So this is a 3x3 kind of approach. And if you go to the next slide, one of the things that we want to do is to include the 3 things you want to be known for. We might want to put in our differentiators. And then the last is, who do you serve and what results do they experience? So those are all really powerful things to be in a headline. You may not be able to put all of them in the headline and have it make sense, but go to the next slide, please. Oh, goodness. I've missed one, or yeah, there it is. Okay, so this is an example, and what I meant to share with you is that it reads like a sentence. So the first part is just the title, and then when you say working with owners of small businesses, you know who the client is, to help them build an infrastructure for scalable growth through education, skill development, and resource management. So these are ways that they are benefiting. They're getting education, skill development, and resource management. They're also benefiting from having that infrastructure built. But then you can take those elements of education, skill development, and resource management and use them again in your about section as section headers and in your skills, matching the 3 top things you want to be known for and the 3 top skills. So that is kind of 3 times 3 times 3. We are making sure that when people look at your profile, the message that you intend is received. Okay, let's go to the next one. So as you look down on the profile, what is likely to catch your eye next? Kathleen, do you have a suggestion?
Well, the featured section in LinkedIn, it's so important. And I really didn't know that. That's one thing that catches my eye is, are there photographs? Are there images? Or is it just text? And so
Absolutely.
is there a variety of things in featured?
Yeah, okay. Sheila, if you'll advance here. Indeed. Oh, I've got a double thing. Okay, indeed, the featured section was what I had in mind. And then Sheila, if you would advance one more, there's one more thing that comes right after that, and it's the activity section. That section is lively because it's what you've posted recently. And people love to know what it is that we are putting out there. And this is like the great overview of your most recent posts. And if the most recent post at the top says 7 months instead of 1 day, we have a problem. So that is an interesting thing. Automatically, I know something about that person, depending on what the top post says in terms of recency. I also know that if they didn't post in the last 7 months, that my approach should maybe not be on LinkedIn because they are not there. They are not paying attention. Okay, one more. This always catches my eye. Sheila, do you know what this is?
Actually, I do not. I'm just so curious.
Oh, this is a non-logo logo. And I can't tell you how many people in the C-suite have this logo for their current position. And what it means is that they own their own company, but they have not taken the step of creating a company page, which would allow them to upload their logo to LinkedIn and have it show up on their profile. This is a really sad problem when it happens because it says you have a hobby rather than a business. And whether that's true about the person or not, that is the perception that people get. It's like, oh, they're dabbling. Okay, so continue one more. I think I should be done. Yes, the logo is a symbol of credibility. Without it, you really lose out that credibility factor. And go one more. So that is what I had to say about being memorable from a visual perspective on your profile.
Carol, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I think I love the 3 and 3. That is so easy to remember, and it's really helpful as you're, trying to be concise with what you're putting out there. And you touched on it a little bit. If somebody hasn't posted for 7 months, the strategy to not even be on LinkedIn or to have some type of profile on LinkedIn. So is it kind of a case by case basis? Like, should somebody just you should just not even be on LinkedIn because you're not.
Well, I
So for Googling, right? People Google you and LinkedIn is one of the first things that comes up.
It is. I don't think anybody should withdraw from LinkedIn because it is the way that people do find you, at least. I recommend not putting all your eggs in the LinkedIn basket because they're not gathering the eggs daily from that basket. So, it's a symbol of how active they are at this time. And to get rid of your profile would be the wrong thing to do because when that person has a change in their career, as people do, things happen, and they may want to, be active again. And so that's why I would never get rid of a LinkedIn profile. But just from a perspective of how to contact that person and really leverage your friendship with them, it's not on LinkedIn.
Such great, oh my goodness, so much value and so many ideas. I have 3 points that I have a little bit of LinkedIn, like, oh gosh, I got to get this handled later today. Thanks, Carol. And I'm sure with my style, I got to amp things up and ramp things up as we all do, right? In
Yeah.
today's world, if we want to be seen and noticed and hired
Absolutely.
and retained, we've got to step things up a bit. And it doesn't have to be drudgery. It doesn't have to be hard, especially with the right mentorship, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, yes. So as we complete, I'm just jumping in. Any parting words before I kind of close out our program today?
No, it's fun to talk about how we look with Sheila, who is just, always outstanding. And so I'm really pleased to be able to partner with her. But usually I focus on words. And today I focused on what does your eye see? And I thought that was an interesting, different lens and compatible with elevating how you look cross channels.
Very great. Yes, words and wardrobe and wisdom, right? Yes. Sheila,
There
how about you? Parting words, and I'm going to jump in and share with our viewers something very special.
Thank you so much. And Carol, right, the feeling is mutual. We just it's so many things that go together with what we do, right? That visual aspect of somebody's personal brand, personal branding in general. I love what you said. What does your eye see first? Because really we are wired to interpret things visually first as human beings. So
Absolutely.
that's like what that always happens is like, what does your website look like? What do you look like on Zoom? What does your LinkedIn profile look like? What's that banner look like? What's your profile picture look like? So all those different things, and then even that missing logo, I love that, right? So all those little visual aspects of a personal brand. So there's so many synergies there of just showing up, right? Just making sure you show up. So thank you for the opportunity to allow me to share with the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council, Kathleen.
Very nice. Thank you. Great. So how about if I wrap things up for us? And, we so appreciate each of you being here and also watching our replay. So thank you. We're so grateful. We've got a very vibrant and excellent YouTube channel, so you'll be able to catch the replay of this. And, as we complete our time, it's so important to really take these into consideration, every aspect of what we're doing, online and in person. I think it's now the acronym is IRL, right? In real life, right? Yes. So I encourage you, and I know that Sheila does as well as Carol, take some action. Take some action, because this could have been for you. Of course, it was a fabulous interactive live stream, a great experience, great knowledge, great tips, great strategies. And the key is we want to encourage you to take some action from today. And so you have a tremendous opportunity. There is an opportunity to work with Carol and Sheila in the Reignite and Rise Express VIP session. And this is an opportunity for you to get personal one-on-one guidance for an express session where you will be action-packed. You will get so much in the 60 minutes with each of these global experts on how to upgrade and update and your look online as well as in real life. What are some things that is really a way for you to show up and be seen? And then also with Carol to show up and be seen on LinkedIn and on your social presence, because it's something also to have that continuity between your look, your style with Sheila, and then your look and your style, and you're showing up on LinkedIn and all of your social handles. So with that, feel free. This is a special opportunity, a special offer. Space is limited. I know the two of you ladies, you've already got women that, and some men too, that are very interested to sign up for this. And so I think the easiest way to do this, to keep it very simple, to reignite and rise, is to contact Sheila or Carol at the email address you see on the screen. And, of course, reach out to them, send a DM to them on LinkedIn as well. And you can get more information about this wonderful offer, this wonderful opportunity. I know I am going to be taking advantage of this myself. So feel free to do that. And when you see the recording, I just want to let you know, I don't know when you see the recording if this opportunity will be available, but just go ahead and just try it anyway. I think maybe Sheila and Carol may be able to squeeze this in for you, but take action now. This is not something where you'll say, well, I'll do this when I get a new haircut, or I'll do this in 6 months, whenever. No, do it now. Do it now. Take the opportunity now, because people are out there looking for coaches and consultants. They're looking for new colleagues in their company. And so people are always looking all the time, and you want to be the one that they're looking for, the one that they're seeing, the one that's showing up to do business. Okay. And so with that, feel free, reach out to both of our experts, our esteemed faculty members. And then, as I always like to do at the very end of every program, is take a deep breath, because we've filled you up with so much good information, good strategies, good new ideas, good ahas. And as you complete watching this and being here, of course, as well, just take a moment and think about what's your biggest takeaway. What's the biggest takeaway, and also the one next step. Highly encourage you to contact Sheila and Carol Kaemmerer, Sheila Anderson, Carol Kaemmerer, and get that conversation going and get the Express VIP session set up. Okay. So with that, bye for now. We'll complete our program, and thank you so much. What a great opportunity. I'm thrilled. What a service you two are doing for women and men around the world. It's our time, isn't it, ladies? It's our time.
Absolutely.
And it's our time for guys too. Yes, good. So with that, bye for now. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.